right, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday to you. And I don't know what part of the country you're in. If you're in some of these colder states like Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, you're dealing with 1 degree temperatures like uh, 5 degrees, 8 degrees, maybe negative in some of those areas. So hopefully, I'll be able to share some things with you today to just kind of warm your spirit and get you supercharged for the day. I can tell you, I had to go out and shovel snow this morning, and yeah, it was brutal. It's been that way for the last couple of days here in Colorado, but at the same time, again, I think when you're going through cold weather, it makes you appreciate the warmth better. When you're going through challenges, it makes you appreciate the triumph better. So I always try and look at things from a positive light. And I think that's a great kind of a segue into this Monday mindset today of what we're going to talk about is the practice of thinking and the practice of believing and how really the two merge together so very well. And when you're able to have some mastery to a certain degree of these two things, your life is going to be different. Your life is going to change. And, the thing about it, I've seen people master their thinking and their believing in a very negative way without even consciously knowing that they're doing it. And we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But the what we're going to focus on is the power of belief and this magic of being able to think our way into the results that we want for ourselves, and by doing so, we continue to build our belief through that. And this is something that I learned many years ago through a series of lessons, and I think it was over the course of time there were aha moments for me of realizing, wow, okay, that's what this was for, to help me to get to this point. And through doing so, it's taught me the ability of how powerful our belief can be, and how we can navigate the direction of our goals and our dreams and the hopes that we have for ourselves through our own thinking and through our own believing. And it takes me back to childhood. And I think the one thing I can say for each and every one of us on here, we may have differences in opinions, we may have differences in how we grew up, but there's one thing that we can all say: we were all children at one time. All right. And so I want to take everyone back to that place of being a child. And we're talking, 3, 4, 5 years old, maybe even to some later ages as well, 8, 9, 10 years old. And there was this thing that we all, as children, at some point in time, we all had this one true belief. Unequivocally. I don't care what part of the country you were. I don't care what race you were, what gender you were. It didn't matter. We all had this one thing in common of what we believed in. And at some point in time, we all believed in Santa Claus. All right. We all believed in the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny. All right. Because again, as children, we are learning, and during that time, we are learning from our adults, our parents, and understanding what life is about. And we had, adults that shared with us Santa Claus, and there was a certain magic behind Santa Claus. I mean, just how he operated. You think about it, from the ability to get around to all these different homes in one night all around the world, the ability to know who's been naughty and who's been nice, the ability to show up at your local mall on a Saturday or Sunday and basically be in every mall and get your list, get the items that you wanted. We believed in that. When those moments that we were sitting on his lap, we believed. All right, that the list we're giving him is going to come to us. And in many, many cases, it probably did on Christmas Day. So it further increased the belief that we had going into the following year, going into the next Christmas. So why am I talking about Santa Claus? Because I want you to understand that is the power of belief. See, the things that we believe, we make it so, in our minds. But I want to share with you the true aspect of that is this magical piece, because I want to take you down to the emotions of when you believed in Santa. And if you can think back, I can remember how Santa Claus was used as a method to get me to do certain things or act a certain way. Because again, naughty or nice, I didn't want to be on the naughty list. So you think about how your parents, especially when it's getting closer to the Christmas holidays, how that statement was used to make sure that you cleaned up your room or you ate everything on your plate, in regards to being on one of those lists. And that was the power and the magic of believing in order to be able to get us to do something to ensure that we were, the belief that we were doing the things to make sure that we could achieve the goal that we wanted. And that's to be off of the naughty list, be on the nice list so that we can get the things that we wanted for Christmas. And so if you take yourself back and you take yourself into those emotions of thinking about, it's November and you're thinking about Christmas Day, you're thinking about December 25th, and the fact that, when you wake up, what's going to be under the tree, the bike that you wanted, the race car track that you wanted, the Barbie doll that you wanted, whatever the case may be, you were thinking about those things, and it created an excitement, a joy, an emotion inside of you as it led up to the day. All right. Eventually, time came and we realized that there isn't a Santa Claus. All right. And many of us were all shaken by that. And it kind of disrupted our whole thinking around that. But see, this is the thing I want you to take away from it. The thing that should have stayed and a lot of people lost is that magic of believing. All right. And understanding that when you believe in something and you take it to the subconscious, and we're going to talk about conscious and subconscious thinking, when you take it to the subconscious and you build certain exercises around it, and that's what we're going to get into. See, this isn't a conversation about Santa Claus. This is about your thinking and your believing. And that was the premise that I took away, not knowing, not understanding, but realizing all through my life. There was always this sense of believing in something that I couldn't necessarily see, believing in something that I couldn't necessarily put my hands on. It wasn't tangible, but I still believed anyway. And then by doing so, it started to give me the results that I wanted in life. And I'm going to share, what that looks like for you. But that's what I took away from understanding in childhood, that this belief that I had in Santa Claus, it was a foundational piece that I took through the rest of my life that has helped me to believe in every goal that I set for myself right now. So I want to really just kind of, one of my, I call him my mentor. Never met him. He actually passed away when I was 2 years old. But I have studied him so much and understand his thinking so much that I feel like he is a mentor. Anytime I can find something that I've never read by this man, or an audio that I've never heard before, I'm listening to it. And his name is Napoleon Hill. Many of you probably know him from the book Think and Grow Rich. It's the number one most sold book outside of the Bible in history. And the principles that were taught in that book are really the principles that I live by today. And one of the biggest that he mentions is, whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And that can never be more true. And when I read that book, I was 40 years old. This was where my personal development journey started. And understanding that statement, the very opening line of the book says, "Thoughts are things." And when I've read that book 6 times, and every time I read it, I got a better and better understanding of where he was coming from with that, and understanding the power of our thinking and our thoughts and how it leads to the belief. So I'm going to share that with you here in a minute. But one thing before we go into more of the conscious and subconscious thinking, I want to share a story with you. This is another one of my mentors, Les Brown, who I actually did have the opportunity to be personally mentored by for about 18 months. And one of the stories he often shares is about the two boys that were, they're kind of weather like this. They were in cold weather, in the northern part of the US, and they were on this lake that had frozen over, and they're playing hockey on this lake, and they're having the best time of their lives. And all of a sudden, a crack happens in the lake, and one of the boys falls through the crack, and he's into the water, and he's underneath the ice, and his friend that's above the ice can see him, and he's frantically trying to figure out how to get him out, and he can't get him out of the water because he's moving down to the under the ice where there's no opening so the young boy finds this huge branch, this massive branch on the side of the lake, and he brings it out to the lake where his friend is at, and he starts pounding and pounding and pounding on the surface of the lake, and he finally gets it to crack. And when it cracks, his friend is able to come up to the surface, take a gasp of air, and he's able to pull him out of the water. And again, these are young boys, elementary school age. And so the paramedics and the parents and the neighbors, they're showing up because everyone is realizing what's going on. And all of these people are looking around, and they're asking themselves, how is this young boy able to take this huge branch over here and pound on this solid ice like that to be able to crack it open where he was able to get his friend out? And everyone was just baffled by it, how he was able to do this. And there was one older gentleman that was standing on the side, and he said, I know how he did it. I know exactly how he did it. There was no one here to tell him that he couldn't do it. So he believed. And that's the power of belief. That's our ability to be able to believe in things that maybe no one else believes in. And sometimes we're going to have to shut out the noise of other people telling us it can't be done, and just have and turn up the volume on our own. The words are coming from ourselves that it can be done. And how do we do that? We do that through our conscious thinking and our subconscious thinking. And what I mean by that, so the conscious mind, there's two different ways that as humans and how our brains and as our minds work, we work from two different places. The conscious mind is what we're in right now. It's what got you on, you knew it. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. I'm looking at the clock. It's 9 o'clock. There's a Monday mindset. Let me get on my computer. Let me take these steps to open Zoom, and boom, I'm here. Those are all conscious thoughts. All right. The fact that I'm sharing different things with you, you're analyzing what I'm saying. Your logic is coming into play as I'm talking as well. That's all from the conscious state that you're operating in. The subconscious state is the state of your mind that never sleeps. So when your conscious mind, when you lay down to rest and recharge for the day, the conscious mind is resting as well. The subconscious mind continues to operate 24/7, 365. And what I mean by that is this place in your mind where you're able to you're dreaming. Your dreaming comes from your subconscious mind. There's still when you compartmentalize things during your conscious state and your thinking aspect, you're still analyzing that information in your conscious mind. I want you to think about this for a second. Have you ever had a dream, and you had something that was heavy on your mind, and sometimes maybe it's something very distant in your mind, and then all of a sudden you have a dream about it? Those are things. That's an operation of the subconscious mind. that you're thinking about that. And sometimes, like I said, it could be something that you haven't thought about maybe in years, but it's still in that subconscious mind. And then it comes to the surface. I want you to think about this from an aspect of how the subconscious mind works. Have you ever fell asleep with the TV on and you went into a deep sleep where you're dreaming, and then all of a sudden things that are happening on the audio from the TV are now a part of your dream? And you wake up and you realize, man, that was a weird dream. And you realize, oh, well, wait a minute, this crime show is on, and it's kind of in correlation with what I was dreaming. That's once again the subconscious mind that never sleeps, gathering information and embedding it into your mind. And you probably have heard of Rosetta Stone. One of the aspects of how you're supposed to learn a different language through Rosetta Stone, yes, you should be listening to it while you're awake. Your conscious mind is taking that information in, but they also suggest with Rosetta Stone to listen to it while you're sleeping, because your subconscious mind is continuing to gather that information. I can tell you, this is one of the reasons why for many years, I would write my goals down. I would speak my goals into an audio, and then I would listen to my goals while I slept. And it was an opportunity for me to, again, continue to embed, because see, the subconscious mind is where we build the belief in those things that we can do. Just like I was saying, the analytical, the logic, of meeting with Santa Claus, sitting on his lap, having people tell us where the North Pole is and how Santa is going to deliver and the gifts, and putting the cookies out, waking up the next day and seeing if your parents done the thing where they made the hooves in the snow or whatever the case may be. Those were all actions. That was all conscious aspects of you taking the information in. But it was through your subconscious thinking that you continue to build that belief in Santa Claus. And it's the exact same thing that we do today in our subconscious thinking of being able to build belief in what it is that we can and can't do. So I want to give you again, just some examples, because I think one of the most important things, we all hear about affirmations. We hear how important it is to write your goals down, and then either write them daily or definitely speak them daily multiple times during the day. And you think about it from a standpoint of, if you woke up this morning, you have a list of goals, or more importantly, and I'm going to talk about goals and affirmations and what the difference is on that. I prefer to do it from a state of affirmations, because once again, I am speaking directly to my subconscious mind. And what is the difference? If I have a goal of making, $1.5 million gross commission income this year, and I write that down, $1.5 million gross commission income, that's the goal. But if I'm writing an affirmation, I'm speaking it as though it already was. I'm saying, I am so happy and grateful that I make $1.5 million a year gross commission income as a real estate agent. I am so happy and grateful that I have become a successful real estate broker. I am so happy and grateful that opportunities flow to me effortlessly every day. I am so happy and grateful that that money comes to me easily, frequently, and abundantly in God's perfect way with no burden added to it. So these are all things that I am saying as though they already were. All right. And I'm speaking it to my subconscious mind. So a lot of times I think, we get caught up in our conscious thinking of thinking, okay, this is weird. Why am I saying this every day? Well, you're feeding the subconscious mind, because see, the subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what isn't. It only knows what it is given, what it is taught. And if you think, you have kids that grow up in really hard environments, and they're conditioned to think, because of what they've been told in their environment, that they can't aspire to reach certain things in life, and that they can't do anything more than what their parents may be doing or something along those lines. And if you see the direction that those kids grow, in many instances, they don't become more than what their parents were, or they don't achieve anything because they've been conditioned in their environment to believe that that's what all that they can do. And that was embedded into the subconscious mind over the period of many years. So once again, looking at it from a positive perspective, we have the same ability to be able to tell our subconscious mind the things that we want, but speak about them in a way that they've already happened, and continue to build that belief. And eventually what happens is you start to create the behavior of that person that has achieved those goals. Even though you're aspiring for it, you start to build those behaviors. I'm going to give you an example. I don't share this with a whole lot of people because I think honestly, most people can't really wrap their minds around what I'm about to share with you. But I want you to think about something. If I ask you the question, how long are you going to live? When are you going to die? Most people will tell you, I have no idea. That's not something I have any control over. That's not something that, I can dictate. And I'll tell you that you're wrong on that. See, if you go to the Bible, Genesis 6:3, chapter 6, verse 3, it tells you that God has granted us 120 years of life. 120 years of life. But he also, with Adam and Eve and the things that they did in the Garden of Eden, through punishment, he also gave us free will on this planet. All right. So what happened during that time? And I don't mean to make this a Bible study, but I want you to understand my thinking around this. What happened during that time is we have the ability to have free will. And that's why things in this life, things in this world happen the way that they happen. But in scripture, it tells us that we have 120 years. So if someone asks me, how long are you going to live? I'll tell them 120 years with confidence, because I have believed in this for many, many years. And so what has it done for me in that instance? It's told me, okay, I got to be, as a police officer, there was a dangerous job. I took a lot of risk in that job. I'm very conscious of risk that I take, to my life these days. Also, from a health aspect, can I my body physically maintain for 120 years? It can, if I take care of it the right way. So it created a behavior in me of, diet and exercise and the things that I'm doing. And I can tell you, I'll be honest with you, the diet is the most challenging part. But where I was at, say, even 2 years ago versus where I'm at now, from a diet standpoint, night and day difference, because I know I have free will to be able to create the behavior that's going to get me to that goal. And so it puts me in a different way of thinking of, so at 56 years old, you would never hear me say that I'm old. I'm older than I was yesterday, but I'm not even at half my life if I believe in the 120 years that I'm supposed to be able to live. So it creates a different behavior and a different way that I operate throughout the course of my day and the things that I do. Now, and one of the things I love when I go to the gym and I see people in their 80s that are still working out. Those are my favorite people to talk to, because I want to know, what is it that you're doing, that's different than everybody else. I love when I hear someone turn 90, someone turned 100. My mom right now is 88 years old and still going. Guess what? about 20 years ago, she changed a lot in regards to her dieting. My sister is, she's old. She's in her 70s now. And looking at her, you would think she's in her 40s because of how she's pretty much lived her whole life in regards to her diet and nutrition and the things that she puts in her body and how she takes care of herself. So once again, we're talking about something that most people don't even think you have any control of, but myself and my family members, we are taking control of that and saying, and everything is within God's will. But at the same time, it's one of those things of we have some say on this, we have some control, and we have a certain behavior that if we operate in it, will give us the results that we're looking for. It's no different in your business. It's no different on your finances. It's no different in your personal life of how you have control over those things. So I want you to think about that from a perspective of understanding that whatever it is that you want, you have to first create these affirmations and start to plant that seed of belief. If you think about it from this standpoint, the seed, when you're planting the seed, when you're watering the seed, when you're it's getting sunlight, those are all from a conscious state. The subconscious is the soil itself. The subconscious mind is your soil, and that's where the seed is going to grow, but it can only grow from fertile soil that has been taken care of, and you are the one from a conscious state that are actually able to take care of it during that time. So again, being able to operate from that perspective, I want to leave you with one more story, and this is, it's not fairy tale, it's not a parable. This is real, and so for me, it was the thing that really hit home in regards to understanding the power of our thinking and our belief. Many of you may have heard of Roger Bannister. If not, I'll tell you his story. Roger Bannister was the first man to ever run a 4-minute mile, a sub 4-minute mile. Now, prior to this was probably in the 1940s or so. Prior to this, no one had ever run under 4 minutes on a mile. And it was believed. It was believed by doctors. It was believed by other athletes that the body was not built to run a sub 4-minute mile. And if you did, that your heart would explode. Your body just could not take the ability to be able to do it. But Roger Bannister was able to do this. The sub 4-minute mile, the very first person to do it, he set the world record at the time. Now, and you flash forward to about 30 years after he did this, into the 1970s, 1980s. We now, at that point, we had 20,000 people. After he did it, 20,000 other people had now run the sub 4-minute 1 mile. And if you think of it from that perspective, once he did it, everyone knew that it could be done. And we have high school track, runners now that are running sub-minute 4 miles on the norm. All right, it has become, as far as an elite athlete, it has become the norm to be able to run under 4 minutes on a mile. So, but one thing changed is one man's belief in your ability to be able to do it, and he blocked out all the naysayers in regards to with their thoughts and with their beliefs that, even telling him that it could cause death for him, so from that perspective, once again, we go back to the things that you want to achieve, the goals that you have, set them as affirmations, set them as a belief, start planting the seed in the soil of your subconscious mind of the things that it is that you want to be able to achieve for yourself. Speak them as though they've already happened. I am so happy and grateful that in regards to whatever it is that you want to be able to achieve for yourself, and continuously do this, on a daily basis. day after day, week after week, year after year. Continue to do this until it is, in fact, your reality. And you will look back on this time and realize the power of your own thinking, the power of your own belief, and where it can take you in no matter what the goal is that you set for yourself. This is something that I've learned to live by for like the last 10 years. And I am constantly surprised and not surprised by the results that come from it. So I hope this was helpful to each of you. Again, 30 minutes, honestly, this was kind of a rapid pace to go through all of this. I'll definitely be touching on this on other Monday mindsets, but it is the foundational piece of how we achieve our goals. It all starts with our thinking. It all starts with our believing and our practices of doing this on a daily basis. All right, everyone, I want to thank you for being here this Monday. Wishing each and every one of you a great start to your week. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.